Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a book called BetMyHeart, and honestly, it does something that, well, I've never quite seen a book do before. So yeah, let's just dive right in. Okay, so what if a book worked like your favorite streaming service? Seriously, imagine picking it up and instead of being locked into just one story, you get to choose the genre you're in the mood for. That is the wild, fascinating premise at the very core of this novel. It's designed to be read in totally different ways, all depending on the kind of story you want. So how does that even work, right? Well, the book's own introduction lays it out perfectly. It basically says instead of some algorithm deciding for you what comes next, you get to choose the journey. The plot literally adapts to the perspective you'd prefer to follow. It's kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure, but for grown-ups. And it's not just a vague idea. The book literally gives you a roadmap. You can follow one specific set of chapters for a light, fun, romantic comedy. Or if you're feeling a little more intense, you can follow a totally different path and read it as a mystery and conspiracy thriller. You can even choose to just focus on the deep social issues of the time, or zoom in on the intimate personal drama of the characters. And of course, if you want the whole shebang, you can just read all 56 chapters straight through and get the full, chaotic, wonderful Dramedy experience.
But here's the really cool part. No matter which path you decide to take, they all kick off from the exact same place. And that's the heart of the bet. It's this high-stakes wager between two old friends that really gets the engine of the story revving. So let's meet the two people who are about to make this crazy deal.
All right, so first up, you've got Cam. She's a cynical painter who is pretty sure that capital L love is a total myth. She's feeling kind of stuck, working in a bookstore called the Tower of Paper, finding more interesting stories in the old clothes she finds at thrift shops than in her own life. And then there's Luke. He's your classic charming playboy, a globe-trotting photojournalist who is always the life of the party. But that whole charismatic thing, it's really just a shield, a cover for a deep vulnerability he's been hiding since a family tragedy. So yeah, best friends forever, but complete and total opposites. And all of this naturally leads to the bet. After being apart for a while, they reunite and decide to put their clashing philosophies on love to the ultimate test. The wager is simple. Each of them has to find the other's perfect match. And this, my friends, is what kicks off that rom-com track of the book, launching a series of just disastrous, absolutely hilarious, cringeworthy dates. But just when you get all comfy with the bad dates and the funny banter, the story starts to pull back the curtain on its other layers. Because underneath all the romance and the laughter, there are secrets. A much darker story is unfolding in the city, and it might just be connected to a very suspicious death.
And this is where that thriller genre path really takes off. We get introduced to a group called the Bohemian Club, which, by the way, is a real secretive society. We're talking ultra-powerful, ultra-exclusive. And in the world of this book, they are the shadowy figures at the very center of a massive conspiracy that our heroes are about to stumble right into. So the whole investigation feels like this intricate puzzle. It starts with this trail of breadcrumbs left by a mysterious source who calls themselves Arsène Lupin. You know, the famous gentleman thief from classic French literature. A cryptic note leads them to a clue at City Hall where they find a hidden anagram that reveals this dark motto, in Bohemia, Ordo Tenebris, which means the order in the shadows. From there, the trail points them to Mission Dolores, the city's oldest cemetery, a place just packed with secrets. And look, if you're wondering just how powerful this club really is, just listen to this quote, which is often attributed to President Herbert Hoover himself. Anyone can be president of the United States, but very few have any hope of becoming president of the Bohemian Club. Whoa, that really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? We're not just talking about some rich guys hanging out. We're talking about presidents, CEOs, the people who pull the strings. That makes them a seriously dangerous enemy to have.
Now this whole conspiracy, it's not just happening in some generic city. The story is so deeply rooted in its setting. Because in this book, San Francisco isn't just a backdrop, it's practically a main character. A living, breathing entity with a whole story of its own.
And the year is super specific and super important, 1984. I mean, think about that time. It was this incredible pressure cooker of social change, political tension, and cultural shifts. And this book just dives headfirst right into the middle of it.
The San Francisco we see in 1984 is a city right on the edge. You can still feel the reverberations from early LGBTQ+ rights movements, like the Compton's Cafeteria riot. The whole city is wrestling with the social and racial tensions of Reaganomics. And then there's the AIDS crisis, which was absolutely devastating the community. It brought so much fear and loss, but it also sparked this incredible resistance and strength. All of that whole pulse of the city, is just woven into everything the characters do and feel. And this is where that social commentary track really shines. Because this story isn't just about Cam and Luke. It's about their whole crew, this amazing ensemble cast. Each one of them is at their own personal crossroads. You've got Soph figuring out her Peruvian-American identity, May, a musician caught between her family's Chinese traditions and her own American dreams, Sam and Hitch, a gay couple navigating both immigrant legacies and native Ohlone roots, Lee, an aspiring black filmmaker pushing back against stereotypes, Ash, who's grappling with his Jewish heritage. I mean, it's the soul of the city right there in one friend group.
Which brings us to this beautiful central metaphor the book uses for San Francisco. It's described as a handkerchief that, despite its small size, somehow contains every corner of the world. It's this idea that you have this one little spot on the map where all these different worlds and cultures and stories are folded together. They overlap, they connect, sometimes they even clash, but they create this incredible, complex fabric.
So, okay, when you take all these layers, the romance, the conspiracy thriller, the social drama, and you weave them all together, what do you get? Well, you get something so much richer than a simple love story. You get a snapshot, a portrait of a very specific time, a very specific place, and a whole generation trying to figure things out.
Right. The book isn't just one thing. It's all of them at once. And what's so smart about it is that by mashing up all these genres, it gets to explore one single, powerful idea from all these different angles. And that idea is connection. Because in the end, that whole choose your genre thing, it's not just a cool trick. It's a powerful way to tell the story. It lets you, the reader, explore what connection really means. Connecting with a partner? Sure. But also connecting with your friends, with the history of your city, and maybe most importantly, with yourself. It's all about finding your identity, fighting for your community, and discovering that the greatest connections are often the ones you never see coming.
And that's really the big idea the book leaves you with. It's this question that sticks with you long after you finish reading. It makes you look at your own life and ask, if my life is a story, what genre am I choosing to live today? Is it a comedy, a thriller, a drama? It's a pretty cool thought, right? The choice, as always, is yours.